Hi, and welcome to Computerized Accounting, Accounting 1115. In today's video, we'll be discussing Chapter 4 in your ebook. Now, if you see on the screen here, I already have our sample company pulled up, and I will be going through the steps from your textbook for Chapter 4. So Chapter 4, we're discussing operating activities. These are sales and cash receipts. So we're going to talk about how to create a new service, product, and customer. All right, we kind of did that. We did that in Chapter 3. We established an inventory. So we established new products, new service, and I showed you like a quick way to create a new customer. So we're kind of going to review that, and we're going to look at different ways you can do it as well. So in QuickBooks Online, as you will notice throughout this semester, there are multiple ways that you can perform a specific task. So there are many different ways we can do things. And so in Chapter 4, I'll be showing you some new ways to add new products, services, and customers. We'll also talk about recording a sales receipt, recording an invoice for services rendered on account, record an invoice for products sold on account, record a cash receipt, meaning payments received on account. And we're going to deposit payments received on account, and then prepare our trial balance and transaction detail by account reports. All right, so again, we have a sample company. Again, nothing you do in the sample company is saved. Whatever we do is going to revert back to the original state whenever we exit out and come back in. Here, in using our sample company, we're going to be recording operating activities such as adding new services, new products, new customers, new sales receipts, new invoices, new cash receipts, all to the sample company file. Now, if you stop in the middle of doing this on your own and you exit out and come back in, nothing you did is going to be saved. So, just want to keep that in mind, so, all right. So let's talk about services, products, and customers. So we've already seen one way of adding new products and services and adding new customers when we did Chapter 3. So now we're going to look at it, doing it again, getting some more practice doing it. We've already opened up our sample company. Now, again, there's two ways you can go into your products and services. We can come in here and click on the gear icon and click on products and services. All right. Or we can come over here to sales and click on sales, and then scroll down and click on products and services. So there's multiple ways you can access products and services. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click the new button because we want to add a new service. So let's click on the green new button, and we're going to scroll down and we're going to click on service. All right. And we're going to name it Rose Consulting. Okay, Rose Consulting. And we're going to select a category, and it's going to fall under landscaping. All right. All right, now we're going to check the I sell this product and service to my customers. So we make sure that box is checked. All right. If this box is checked, uncheck it. Okay, and make sure only this box is checked. The sales price is going to be $45. And we want it to go to the income account for services. All right. So we're not going to need to change that. We're going to leave it as is. Now, we are going to change things when it comes to the taxes. So for the sales tax category, we want to change it to non-taxable. Okay, non-taxable, and click done. All right, so we're going to change it to non-taxable. So this particular service we're going to provide is non-taxable. All right, and we're going to click Save and New. All right, so you can see up here we added the service Rose Consulting. Next, what we're going to add is we're going to add inventory. Now, I showed you back in Chapter 3 that when we clicked Save and New, well, it kept us in the service. Well, we want to add a product. Well, just click on Change Type. Now we're going to click on Inventory. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. All right, so now we're going to name it Roses. So we're going to be selling roses. All right, the category is going to be landscaping. Now, because it is an item that we're going to be tracking, it's going to ask us how much do we have on hand. All right. So currently we have 0 on hand. And as of, we'll just put today's date. Okay. All right. Now, we always use inventory asset as the asset account to record and track our inventory. All right. So we will not change this. We are going to come down here to sales price. We're going to type 25 in the sales price, and we're going to type 15 in the cost. All right. Now, we're going to use the income account, sales or product income, and we're going to use the expense account, cost of goods sold. So we're not going to make any changes there. We are going to change the sales tax, and we're going to scroll down here, and we're going to select taxable, and because we want to we're just going to use the standard rate. So, all right. So once that is good and everything is selected and entered, we can go ahead and click Save and Close. So we've literally added a product and a service. That was really quick. That was really easy. All right. No major headaches there. So we're good. We should be good now. Okay. We can even scroll under the category landscaping, and we can see we have rose consulting and roses right here, added right here. Okay. So we can see that it's been added. All right. All right. So now we're going to go over here under sales, and we're going to scroll down and let's click customers. So we see here we already have a list of customers because we are using our sample company. So our sample company is already established company. So we have a long list of customers already. All right. But we're going to add a new customer. So how do we add a new customer? We come up here to the green button. It says new customer. Click on it. All right. So we're going to, now there is a video link, and I do provide that video link in your resources folder, how to manage customers. So that is a good video to watch. If you want to watch that video, I'll give you a little more in-depth information on how to manage your customers. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to type in the name. So we're going to come over here where it says customer display name. All right, now you can come over here to company name and type it in here. You can type it in up here if it's a person's name. All right, let's start by just adding the company name. Let's type it over here, Roxy Corporation. Now notice when I typed it over here, it automatically put it over here. Automatically put it over here. All right, now it also tells us we have a name. We have a name that we're going to use, James Roxy. All right, now that changed things over here, didn't it? That made things look a little different. All right, so let's go ahead and click on the drop-down menu. All right, so we have several options to choose from now. So what is display name? What is the purpose of the display names? Okay, well, this is a customer. Okay, so, if for any reason we need to process a payment to this customer, maybe for a refund, or we need to provide any taxable information to the customer, we need to know, does it need to go to the customer's name or to the business name? Okay, because this is the name that will be displayed on any transactions that we do for this particular customer. It will be, so do we want to use the customer's name? Do we want to use the customer's name first, last name, or last name, first name? Or do we want to use the company name? Okay, well, it tells us to select the company name. So we're just going to select company name, and that's what's going to be displayed. So any transaction that we record for this customer is going to be displayed using the company name. Okay, we can scroll down, and it gives us an address. Oh, wow, we get to enter an address. So we're going to enter the 101 Ocean View. All right, we're going to skip down here. We're going to put in La Jolla, and that's actually 2 words. And then state is California, the zip code 92130. All right, and we're just going to go ahead and say, yeah, we're going to assume it's the same. I'm going to assume it's the same. The shipping and billing is the same. All right, so once you've entered in the address, you should be ready to click save. Oh, wait, now let's go down for more information. All right, now if there was specific payment information and terms. Well, we're going to select net 30 terms. Are they specific customer type? Nope. Taxes? Nope, we're not worried about any of that. Do they have an opening balance? Nope, they don't have an opening balance. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and click Save now. So now we've added a new customer, and here's our new customer right here. All right. So we've added a new service, we've added a new product, and we have added a new customer. So next we're going to start adding sales receipts to record cash sales and invoices to record credit sales. And there is a video link, sales receipts versus invoice, again, uploaded in your resources folder. It's a great more detail of what's the difference between sales receipt and an invoice. Well, I'm about to tell you. So business uses sales receipts to record sales transactions on a daily basis when payments received at the same time that the product or service is delivered. So like when you go into Walmart, okay, and they ring up your items and you pay for them, well, that's that receipt that you received from Walmart is called a sales receipt. Walmart has a copy of that sales receipt in their files, and you have a copy of that sales receipt. That is a sales receipt. In other words, you've paid for them. You brought it up, you said, I want to buy this. They rang it up, you gave them money, they gave you the product and a receipt to show that you've already paid for it. That is a sales receipt, and that is different from an invoice. A sales receipt and an invoice are not the same. Sales invoices are used to record sales transactions when customers are granted credit terms and given time to pay for the item after they've already received the product or service, after the product or service has already been delivered. So when we see those terms net 30 that we've got thrown around a little bit so far, net 30, all right, those are credit terms. In other words, you may have a customer that's a repeat customer. This is a good customer. This is a customer that gives you a lot of business. And therefore, you've extended this customer a line of credit, meaning they can come and buy products and services from you, and you will bill them at a later date. And they will have up to 30 days, if your credit terms are net 30, up to 30 days to pay you. So you've already given them the product. You've already provided them the service, and then you invoice them. And on that invoice, based on the credit terms, they could have anywhere from 10, 15, 30 days to pay you. Okay, that is an invoice. An invoice means that you are allowing them to pay you at a later date. That is an invoice. So there's a difference. Sales receipt, they pay for it at the time they get the product or service, and you hand them a receipt showing that it's been paid for. An invoice is a bill that you send to your customer. Okay, you are the vendor, so it's called an invoice. The customer that receives the invoice calls it a bill. Okay, so you are basically invoicing them, basically giving them a bill saying, hey, I provided you with this product, I provided you with this service, here's your bill. Payment is due within 30 days if the credit terms are net 30. Okay, so that is a quick summary of sales receipt versus invoices. Now, how do we add a sales receipt and invoices to our sample company? Okay, so we're going to continue where we kind of left off. And we're going to go and continue using our sample company. All right, so we're going to go up here. I'm going to hit the plus new. And we have some columns here. We have a column for customers, column for vendors, employees, and then other. All right, so a sales receipt is something we're going to hand a customer. So let's go back over to the column that says customers, and let's scroll down here and we see the term sales receipt. Let's click on that. So we're now able to create a sales receipt. So, we've sold some products and services to a customer. They've paid us for it. So what we're doing here is we're basically creating a sales receipt to print to give our customer. That's all we're doing. Now, yes, technically, you would probably have some sort of SKU system or maybe some sort of system where you can don't have to do it manually, but we're still going to teach you this way. All right. So the first thing we got to do is we got to say, well, which customer is it? So it tells us it's Bill's Windsurf Shop. So we're going to select Bill's Windsurf Shop. We're just going to let the date that's automatically up here stay. We're not going to change the date. All right. Now it says to select check from the payment method. So how were you paid? He paid me with a check. And sometimes they'll tell you the check number and you could put it in here for reference number. Sometimes they don't. It's not a big deal. All right, now it says to select the undeposited funds account. So we're going to deposit it to our undeposited funds account. What is that? Okay, well, at QuickBooks, what they do is they have an asset account called undeposited funds. I'll click down here. See, it's considered an other current asset. So you're going to collect money throughout the day. All right. So as soon as you collect the money, it's not going to the bank, correct? It's probably sitting in your either in your cash register till or in a vault. And then at the end of the day, you're going to count all your cash sales, right? All your cash receipt sales. And this means checks and as well as actual currency. And then prepare a deposit for it. Well, QuickBooks says, hey, we're going to create a special other current asset account called undeposited funds for all those check and cash sales that you record throughout the day. And it's going to sit into the undeposited funds until that money actually goes to the bank. And then once it actually goes to the bank, we take it out of the undeposited funds and puts it to your checking account. All right. So consider this a holding account. It's a holding account just to hold your money until it goes to the actual bank. So it's not going to automatically put it to your checking account or put it to your cash account. All right. Because remember, that's supposed to be money that represents money in the bank, right? Well, it's not going to put it directly there because it's not gone to the bank yet. I mean, we don't run to the bank every single time we get cash. No, we hold it until the end of the day. Then we count it. Then we write up a deposit slip. And either end of that day or first thing in the next morning, you take it to the bank. All right. And then when you take it to the bank, you take it out of the undeposited funds account and you move it over to your checking and or cash account. All right. So that's that. Next, it tells us we're now what we're going to do is we're going to record what products or services did we sell. So the first product or service it says that we did was the pump. All right. So on line 1, we're going to select the pump and products or services and a quantity of 2. Now notice when I click on here, it gives me a quantity on hand. It says I have 25 on hand. So remember when we were setting up our company in chapter 3 and I said, turn on the toggle, it says track inventory on hand. This is why. So when we go to record sales receipts and invoices, when we go to click on this little cell right here, it's going to tell us how many we have on hand. So in that way, we can keep track of how much inventory we have so we know if we need to order more or not. Okay. All right. And over here, it automatically puts in our rate, how much we charge for this item. All right, so we charged $15 per pump. And so we sold 2 pumps for a total of $30. All right, and the next item we sold was the rock fountain. So we go ahead and click on the rock fountain. Let's see here, is that the right rock fountain? Yeah. All right, and we also sold 2 of these. So we'll go ahead and change that to 2. See, it says when we have quantity of 2 on hand. So after this transaction, we're sold out. All right. So now as we look at it, our total transaction should be $580. All right. Now here we could select, because we were in California, you select California because it says taxable. So you would want to select the drop down menu, select California. It's going to automatically calculate the sales tax to then increase the total amount received to include sales tax. If these were not taxable, then we just would not, we wouldn't include tax. Okay, but they are taxable. All right. Now, once that's done, we can go ahead and click Save and Close. Now, we're not going to actually click Save and Send because this is just pretend. So we're going to click Save and Close. All right. You would also, now let's go back to that and let's think about it. You could print it out. You could email it to your customer, letting them know, hey, here's your sales receipt for the items you purchased today. You could print it out and hand it to them. You could email it to them, so there's different things we could do. All right, so let's go back to customers. All right, so I basically just went back to customers and let's click on Bill's Windsor Shop. So we see right here, what does he have? He has an invoice that's been paid. So we see it's closed. He has another invoice that's not been paid and it's actually overdue. And then we have the sales receipt that we just recorded. And because it is a sales receipt, it's automatically recorded as paid. Because remember, sales receipt means we received payment at time the product and service was delivered. All right. but by clicking on the customer, we can see a list of their transactions. All right. So next, we're going to go back up here and click on the plus new icon, but this time we're going to stay in the customers column. We're going to click on invoice. And remember, invoice is different from a sales receipt. Sales receipt means we received payment at the time the product and services were delivered. Invoice means we were going to deliver them the product and service and then allow them to pay us at a later date, meaning that we have extended them a line of credit, basically a 30-day line of credit. All right. All right, so we got to start by choosing who our customer is, and we're going to select Cool Cars. All right, now your computer system date has been entered as the invoice date, and the default terms for this can be fine. So basically, our invoice date's today, and we're going to continue using credit terms of net 30. That is your most common credit terms, by the way, is net 30. All right, now look here, the due date. So the invoice date is the date that you issued the invoice, all right, which is usually the same day that you provide the product or the service, all right. Now, based on what terms we use, we'll determine the due date. So right now it's net 30, so the due date is within 30 days, so it'll be July 6th. What happens if I change the credit terms? If I change the credit terms to net 15, it changes the due date. And of course, it's going to change it to 15 days out, okay. So that is important because it does change your due date. All right. Now, what are we going to invoice them for? So let's go down here to products and services. And we are going to invoice them for a service, trimming. All right. So we did tree and shrub trimming for them, total of, let's say, 3 hours at a rate of $35 an hour for a total of $105. Actually, I think it says change it to 5. All right, so I skipped a line. All right, now, next, we have another service that we provided. We provided pest control. So we'll scroll down and look for pest control. And here we did provide 3 hours or whatever. So essentially, though, our total invoice should be $280. So we provided 5 hours of landscape trimming and 3 hours of pest control. All right. We are going to go ahead and apply our sales tax of 8%. All right, now look at that. It did not calculate anything when we did that. So, so even though a rate is selected, no sales tax applied. Both services are considered not taxable, so therefore no tax is going to be added. See, there's no green check here. No green check here. All right. So once that's done, we can go ahead and click Save and Close. Now, obviously, we would probably email this to our customer. We could even print it out and mail it to them, or send it to them via email. So you would click Save and Send. You could click Print and put it in the snail mail, as we call it. You know, so there's different options. We're going to go ahead and click Save and Close. All right, and it tells you that your invoice, and it automatically uses the next number. Okay, it automatically uses the next number. All right. Now let's go back to sales. Let's go back down to customers. And let's go find Cool Cars. And now we can see that invoice that we just entered. All right, and it shows that it's open. So they had an invoice. And we received 2 payments on that invoice. So that invoice is now closed. All right, so they only have 1 invoice now open, and it's the invoice that we just issued. All right. So that is it. That is how you create a sales receipt, and then that's how you create invoices. So the next thing we're going to do we're going to talk about cash receipts. So in QuickBooks, the concept of cash receipt is referred to as receiving a payment. Okay, receiving a payment. So to record the receipt of payment from a customer, you can use the receive payment item in the create menu to record the transaction, or you can use the receive payment from the action column in the actual customers list of transactions. So let's go back to customers. And let's go to Bill's Windsurf Shop. All right, the reason I'm opening this up is he has an invoice out there that's overdue. So we can record a cash receipt, which is receiving a payment. Now this would be considered the action column by the customer's list of transactions. So we would click here to receive payment, if it's specifically for Bill's windsurf shop. So we got, Bill paid me $85. I got a check in the mail from $85 referencing invoice number 1027. So then I know that he's paid those outstanding debt to me. So that's one way to do it. And so the other way to do it is to record the receipt of payment from a customer using the receive a payment in the create menu. So we come up here in the plus new, and we can click receive payment. Okay. So the payment we're going to receive is actually going to be from Jeff's Jalopies. Now, we could click here, find invoice by number. So if we knew the invoice number, we would type in the invoice number and click find, and it would automatically link it to an outstanding invoice. If we don't necessarily have an outstanding invoice, in other words, Jeff Jalopies is paying us, but there was no actual invoice issued, then we won't have an invoice to link it to. But you would just be able to click this and just enter the invoice number, and it would link it to the invoice. All right. Now, we're going to go ahead and just leave the default date as is, no problem. What was our payment method? Well, he sent us a check. And again, it's going to go to the undeposited funds account until it goes to the bank. All right. So guess what? See what we down here. So we do have an outstanding invoice. We didn't have to click find the invoice. It already found it for us. Okay. So we see down here, if Jeff Jalopies had multiple invoices, we would see all the invoices that are still open listed down here. So we can change it. Let's go to Cool Cars. Okay, Cool Cars, there's that invoice that we just did, right? Let's go to Bill's Windsurf Shop. It automatically pulled that outstanding invoice for $85. Okay. If it didn't pull it up down here, you would obviously want to go find my invoice, find my invoice up here. But if it pulls it up down here, then you don't have to. So let's go back to Jeff's Jalopies. All right. And the payment that we received is for invoice number 1022. So go ahead and put a check mark by that to show that we received payment. All right. Okay. So, so let's just exit out. And yes, we're going to leave without saving. And we're going to back up to customers. And I'm going to show you how to do it the other way. So we're going to click on Jeff's Jalopies. So we see he has an invoice that's overdue. So let's click receive payment here. Well, look, same window. So we just change it. Come over here. Payment method was by check. All right. So the amount we received is $81. Amount to apply is $81. And now he owes $0. All right. Once everything looks good, everything looks right, you would just click save and close. And now we've showed that we've received payment for that invoice, and we can see now it's closed. It's been paid. All right. So let's now talk about bank deposits, because we've recorded sales receipts, and now we've recorded a payment, right? And every time we've done it, every time we've recorded the sales receipt and the cash receipt, we did it to the undeposited fund account, right? Well, let's talk about what happens when we now finally take the money to the bank. So let's go back over to the plus new icon, and we're going to come over here under other, and we're going to select bank deposit. Now, again, there is a video and how to record a bank deposit in your resources folder. I encourage you to go ahead and watch that. It'll give you more insight and more detail on what happens when you go to record a bank deposit. Now, you notice when I selected bank deposit, it pulls everything that's should be sitting in the undeposited fund account. So right now, this is everything that you've recorded that has gone to the undeposited fund account. So we see our Jeff Jalopies that we did. We see our Cool Cars, and we see our Bill's Windsurf Shop. Okay, specifically the Bill's Windsurf Shop and the Jeff Jalopies, because I think Cool Cars, all we did was just issue an invoice. All right. All right. So these have got our date, today's date on them. So we can see that that's from today. Now, what it's asking us at this point to do is which items, okay, is included in today's deposit. Okay. So it has us selecting the Freeman Sporting Good payment to go to the deposit for today. All right, so once you've selected the items that's going to the bank, you go ahead and click Save and Close. All right, so now that shows that that money has now been deposited to the bank. So it automatically takes it out. Let's go back into there, and we'll go back into the bank deposit. And you notice when we go back in there, it's no longer available, right? So we tell it what account we're going to put it to. All right, so we only have two options. We have a checking or a savings account for the bank, right? So we said what's going to go to our checking account. So let's say we're going to deposit Bill's check. All right, so we're going to deposit Bill's check for this that we received for the cash sale, the sales receipt that we did. All right. So what it's doing is it's taking it out of that undeposited fund account, which is an other current asset. It's taking it out of that undeposited fund account, and it's posting it to our checking account. That's all it's doing. When I click Save and Close, it's taking it to the checking account. All right. So that is it. That's all we're going to work on in the textbook. So next we're going to switch over and we're going to actually work on our Chapter 4, Case 1 together using our sample company. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've opened up my Case 1 company. Okay, so we are going to, what we're getting ready to do here now is we are going to be doing our Chapter 4, Case 1 together. Okay, so I'm going to be going through each of the steps. Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to be adding some operating activities, which is there's some sales and cash receipts to our company. And this is going to be based on what we just learned using our textbook and the sample company. And remember that we are to make changes to the Case 1 company that we modified in Chapter 3. So remember, they're a continuation. So each Case 1 is a continuation of itself at the end of every chapter. Same with Case 2, they're a continuation. Okay. So the first thing it wants us to do in step 1 is to add a new customer. So we know there's different ways we can add a new customer. So I'm going to come over here to sales, and I'm going to click on customers. Okay, so we only have one customer, and that's Blondie's Boards, and we created Blondie's Boards when we set up our journal entry recording the receivable that they owe us $5,000 for. So there's another way we can add a new customer we just learned, and that's coming over here and clicking the new customer button. All right, so we are going to put in her name as Sarah Hay. And the company name is Hey Hey Surfs. Okay. We want the display name as Sarah Hay. So we're going to leave the display name as Sarah Hay. We're going to scroll down to address, and we're going to put in the address of 230 Beach Way in La Jolla, California, 92039. All right, and that's the only information it's given us. So that's all we're going to enter. So we'll go ahead and click Save. So we've now added another customer. So Sarah Hay for Hey Hay's Surf. So we see her name is Sarah Hay, and there's her company name right there. All right. Now, step 2, it says to add a new service. So let's go over here to our gear icon. Let's come over here to products and services. Okay. Now, I was in here. Okay. And I clicked on the gear icon to go to there. But I want to show you, because I told you there's so many different ways you can go. I didn't have to do that, did I? No, that's a habit of mine. It's a habit to do that. It's not a bad habit to have. There's nothing wrong with it. But I could just come up here and do that. So just want to show you different ways. Now, it says we're going to add a new service. So let's come here and click the green new button, and let's click on service. So we're adding new service. We're going to call it tune-up. All right. And the rate for our tune-up is 85, and we're going to use the income account services. So let's go ahead and click Save and New. All right, so we've added the new service tune-up. Now in step 3, it says we're going to add a new product. Well, it says service. That's okay. Click Change Type and click Inventory. All right, so we're now on step 3. We're going to add a new product, and this is called the Fred Rubble. All right, Fred Rubble. Initial quantity on hand, 0. As of January 1st, 2024. There we go. Okay. Now remember, anything that has that little asterisk, we've got to enter information in. Okay, we've got information in. All right, now we're always going to use our inventory asset account. Our sales price. Sales price is $950, and we want to change it to our sales account, not sales of product, just sales. The cost of our item, $600. All right, and we're going to continue using the cost of goods sold expense account. All right, now we're ready to close. So we're going to do save and close. We're done. We've added a new product and we added a new service. So we've added a new customer, we've added a new service, and we've added a new product. All right, so we're busting through this pretty fast. I know when you open it up and you see all these steps, you know, you're like, wow, there's 14 steps. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but we're going through them really fast. Okay, we're already on step 4. Step 4, we're going to record a sales receipt. Sales receipt. So we're going to come over here to the plus new, and under customers, we're going to scroll down and find sales receipt. So we just did this in our ebook, right? So now we're doing it for our company. So we're going to record a new sales receipt for the customer Blondie's boards. So remember, let's talk about what a sales receipt is. A sales receipt is when we provide them with a product or service and they pay us at time that it was rendered. All right, there's no pay me later on this one. A sales receipt means that they paid you when you provided them with the product and or service. Okay, so you are basically creating a sales receipt that you're either going to print out and hand to your customer that's standing right in front of you, or you can say, hey, I can email this to you if you want to go paperless. And you can email it to them because it actually has a section here for email. All right, so but a sales receipt is different from an invoice. A sales receipt indicates that they paid for the item at the time that you provided the product and their service. Okay, just like when you go to Walmart, you buy the stuff, you pay for it, they give you a sales receipt. Okay, so let's go ahead and select Blondie's board as our customer. We are going to change the date. All right, it says it wants us to use January 3rd, 2024. All right, the payment method, check. With reference number 893. We're going to deposit it to the undeposited funds account. So let's hope we have an undeposited funds account already set up. So you're going to type in the term undeposited. Oops, we do not have the undeposited fund account. So we're going to have to add this new current asset account. So we're going to add new. Oh, look. So it's other current asset. We're going to scroll down here. Undeposited funds, and we're going to name it undeposited funds. All right, so let me walk through that with you one more time. What is the type of account? It is an other current asset. We scroll down under all of the detailed types that fall under other current assets. We scrolled all the way to the bottom and we selected undeposited funds, and we're going to name it undeposited funds. We're not going to do anything else. We're not going to create any sub accounts. We're not going to start tracking anything. So this is all we're going to do. I'm going to click save and close. Now it's saying something's not right. It's saying there can only be one account detail type for undeposited funds. Uh-oh. And this is fine. This is fine. If you come across this problem, this is good. I'm showing you how to troubleshoot it. It says I have a detail type already created for undeposited funds. But when I came in here, I don't see undeposited funds as an option to choose here. What do I do? You got to exit out. Yes, we're going to leave without saving. And we're going to go down to our chart of accounts. And we're going to look for that detail type of undeposited funds. Now it's going to be other current assets. All right. So we're going to look at the account type, other current assets. And we're going to come over here and we're going to look for undeposited funds. Boom, there it is. They named it payments to deposit. It got named payments to deposit. Okay, we want to change that. How do we change that? We're going to come over here. I'm going to click the drop down menu. We're going to click edit and we're going to rename it. If I could type. All right, we're going to name it and then click save. That's all we're going to do. That's all we're going to do. So now we have renamed it. All right, we have renamed it. All right, so we're going to come back over to the plus new. Going to go back into our sales receipt. And we're going to start all over again. I'm going to click Bonnie's boards and check 893. Make sure we change that date. Okay, now we're going to put it to undeposited funds right there. There we go. Okay. All right. Now, some of you may have that problem. Some of you may not. Just wanted to show you how to fix it if you have that problem. Okay. So now, what did we sell them? We sold them a product and we sold them specifically their Rook 15. So we're going to come over here and click on our drop down menu. And this is automatically going to pull everything that we have listed as an inventory, a product or a service. Everything that we have so far entered as a product or a service. So we're going to click on the Rook 15. Look at that. I clicked on that cell and what happened? It shows me how much I have on hand. Why? Because we're tracking it. That's why it's important. So we sold 2. Okay, we sold 2. All right, now this is a sales receipt. So the money is going to go directly to our undeposited fund account. All right. And remember, we don't do sales tax. We've already set that up. So we're going to head and click save and close. Now, we would typically probably click save and send. We'd probably put an email address up here for Blondie's boards and we'd send it to them via email. And they would have a copy of the invoice, a copy of the sales receipt showing, their version. Or we can come down here and we click print and we can just print it out for them and give it to them. Okay. So there's other ways we can do that. But remember, this is all for pretend. So we're just going to click save and close and move on. So you'll hear that our sales receipt has been saved. And we didn't put in a sales receipt number. Why? It's going to automatically number them. It's going to automatically do it. We don't have to do that. It's going to give it an automatic number and it's going to stay in sequential order. Okay. Now we're ready for step 5. Step 5, it wants us to record an invoice. Now we just did a sales receipt. Remember the difference between sales receipt and invoice. Sales receipt is when we record a transaction where payment is received at the same time that the product or service is rendered. Okay. Invoice is different. Invoice means we've already provided them with the product and or service, and we're going to invoice them, which means we're going to allow them to pay us at a later date. All right. So let's go back over to the plus new. We're going to stay in the customers column and we're going to click on invoice. So now we're going to create an invoice. All right. We're just going to go to invoice, people. We're not doing anything fancy. All right. I love it when they change the way things look. I love it when they change the way things are supposed to appear. It's just so lovely. All right, so we have the edit, we have the email view, the PDF view, the payer view. Okay, so let's stick in the edit view. All right, so they've changed this up from last year. Yay, I love changes. It makes me so happy. It doesn't. I'm being sarcastic. I hope y'all can tell that. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the customer. So it's going to pull from our customers list and it tells us we're going to use Sarah Hay. Okay. So we pull that up. It's automatically numbered the invoice number. So sales receipt was 1, invoice number 2. So we can just leave that as is. We don't have to change anything. We're going to continue using the credit terms net 30, but we are going to change the invoice date. We're going to change the invoice date to the 4th. Okay. Change the invoice date to the 4th. All right. So now what are we invoicing them for? All right. So we're going to end invoicing. So we'll come down here and as soon as we move our mouse over here, now all these stuff highlights. That's pretty cool. Drop down menu. It's still going to show all the products and services that we currently have available. So the first thing is we did a tune-up for Sarah Hay, a quantity of 2. All right. And then we also sold a product. We sold them a water hog and it's going to be just a quantity of 1. Okay. So we provided them with a service, a tune-up, quantity of 2. We sold them a product, the water hog, quantity of 1. Okay. So your total invoice should equal $1,030. Okay. Again, we don't do sales tax. All right. So that's really the only thing we should be changing. And of course, if you want to play with this, like what is the email view? That's what it looks like. You can, when you email it to your customer, this is what it's going to look like on the email. And they would click here to like view details. The PDF view, which would be what like you would print out. So this is what it looked like when it's printed out. Okay. And then the payer view, like when they want to go pay it, this may be what their window looks like when they want to pay the invoice. Okay. All right. Once we're done, obviously you would click review and send, save. And then we can just click, so it's already been saved. So we've saved the invoice. We don't have the option of save and close. Okay. You can print and download. You can show that you've already received payment. You can just click review and send. We don't have to do any of that. We're just going to close it out. Okay. Just going to close it out. All right. So we've recorded a sales receipt and we've recorded an invoice. So now let's now record a cash payment received from Blondie's boards. Okay. So it's going to show we're going to record a cash payment received. All right. So we can do one of 2 things. We can go to sales receipt, go down here to customers, and we can see our customers. We can click on Blondie's boards. All right. Now, Blondie's paying us for the amount that we placed in accounts receivable using our journal entry. Because this particular receivable was recorded using a journal entry, we don't have an action item over here. We don't. So we cannot record receive payment through the action item because it was recorded again with the journal entry. So we are going to have to come up here to the plus new, and we're going to have to select receive payment this way. All right. Now, when we click receive payment this way, we got to select our customer. So we're going to select Blondie's boards. Now, they only have 1 outstanding receivable with us. Okay. And it's from journal entry number 1. All right. So this is the payment we're going to receive. Now, we've got to do a couple of things first. Got to change the payment date. Payment date was on the 5th. Payment method, check with reference number 984. And we're depositing it to what? Undeposited funds. Okay. Undeposited funds. All right. Again, we're going to recording a new cash. We're recording a cash payment received on the 5th from Blondie's boards. They're paying us the $5,000 they owed us that we set up as a receivable when we established our QuickBooks account. And we're going to, and then they paid us via check number 984, and we're going to deposit to our undeposited fund account. All right. So once that is done, right, we're going to go ahead and click save and close. All right. So received payment saved. Now we're ready to record a deposit. Okay. We're ready to record a deposit. So I'll come up here. I'm going to click plus new. I'm going to come over here to other and hit bank deposit. All right. So we've got 2 things that we've gotten from Blondie's boards. We have the sales receipt where we sold them the product and service and they paid for us at the time it was rendered. And then we've also received payment from them for that outstanding receivable of money they owed us. So we have 2 items we can select from that's going to go to the bank. All right. So in step 7, it says record a deposit made on the 8th. So let's go ahead and change our date and change it to the 8th. We want it to go to our checking account. Okay. So we make sure we select checking account and change the date to the 8th. All right. And the payment we're taking to the bank is for the sales receipt. The sales receipt. All right, so what we're doing is we're taking this out of undeposited funds and we're recording it to our checking account because this is this money that we received on the 3rd, we've now taken to the bank. That's all that means. We've now taken it to the bank. So we can go ahead and click Save and Close. All right, again, what do? We are recording a bank deposit. So the money we received on the 3rd from Blondie's boards, that sales receipt that we did, okay, for $1,300 is going to the bank on the 8th. So we need to record it in QuickBooks showing that it went to the bank. So we're going to take it out of our undeposited fund account and put it to our checking account. All right. So as soon as I hit Save and Close, that's exactly what it's going to do. It's going to take it out of that undeposited fund account and put it to our checking account. All right. Now we're ready for step 8. Step 8, we are going to prepare a trial balance report. So let's go down here to reports. Now, we see these green stars. All right, I'm going to show you a trick. I want you to go down here. We're going to go all the way down. See where it says trial balance? Put a green star by it. When it says transaction detail by account, put a green star by it. Why? Let's go back up here. Now it's up here in your favorites. You don't have to type the name in. You don't have to scroll around looking for it. It's automatically in your favorites because you're going to run these 2 reports at the end of every chapter for every single one of your case studies. Okay? All right. Let's go ahead and click on trial balance. And let's do our to and from. So our from is always going to be this date. Always. Now, case 2 is a different date. Case 2 is a different date. All right. So pay attention to that. Case 1 is going to always start with December 31st, 2023. And we've done some transactions in January. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do it to the end of that January. See what I did? No, it's a whole month. A whole month. So in chapter 3, everything we did was December 31st. We had not done anything starting in January, but we did some things with January dates on it. All right. So we're going to go ahead and just run it for the whole month from December 31st to January 31st. All right. So I click Run Report. And this is your trial balance. Now, you should be able to match this trial balance to the figure 4.22 in your case study, and it should match. Okay, it should match. The only thing that's not matching is my name's here. I got to figure out how to fix that. So I may troubleshoot that in a minute. All right. So if you're having the same problem I did, we can figure out how to troubleshoot that in a minute if you want to. All right. Now, so the first thing I want you to do is I want you to just kind of look over everything and make sure everything matches, everything looks the same and matches over, and everything's good to go. If it is, then you are done and you're ready to export it, and you're going to export it as a PDF. Remember, always as a PDF. Save it to your computer, whether it's external hard drive, desktop, whatever. Just make sure you can access it when you go to upload it as part of the assignment for Chapter 4, Learning Module 2. Okay. Now, the next report we're going to run is our transaction by detail. So click on that. All right. So they've enhanced it. We don't care about the enhanced look. We don't want to do the enhanced look. Go back to classic view. Switch to classic view. All right. I ain't playing around with these changes. We're going to do the same date range. Right? Same date range, run report. And this is your transaction detail by account. Okay? It shows every transaction you've done. You're going to export that as PDF as well, and you're going to upload that as attachment for your assignment. And that is it. That is it. We are done. All right. So you could stop here and stop the video here if you want to. But I'm going to try and troubleshoot and see if I can fix my account names because I have a little bit of OCD. And I don't like the way my fixed asset account names look. So I want to try and fix it and try and figure out why. all I'm doing right now, guys, and you not have to watch this video at this point, is I'm trying to see if I can figure out how to change the appearance of this, but I'm not gonna be able to troubleshoot that. So I'm gonna go ahead and just stop the video from here. And I'll troubleshoot it off camera because it's not proving to be very easy. If you guys have any concerns or questions, feel free to email me and let me know. Hopefully you can follow along with my video pretty easily, and hopefully your companies are not looking completely different from my companies. All right, so I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will chat with you guys next week.